Right now, I'm here to ensure that we talk about some really hard facts as to what's happening in the country. And we will start off with what's trending, what's happening, the three big stories making the rounds in Nigeria today. And that will take us up until 4:30, where we'll get into another conversation and a different dimension to the show, talk about some things really important and how self-kidnapping is on the rise, especially for minors in Nigeria. At 6 o'clock, we'll have some sponsored guests come through as we also get to check out your eyewitness and situation update are. And you can do to be a part of the conversation. We'll be streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja to join in, and don't forget to subscribe and also turn on your notifications so you get to know when it is that we live or streaming. My name is Itodo, and you can join in via Facebook and YouTube. We've got Suleiman, who's a journalist and publisher of Cherimoya Publishing. That's it, yes. And also Salisu, Abdulahi, Abdulahi here. He's a lawyer and editor at page 36. And together we'll get into the round, talk about some really important making the rounds in Nigeria. And yes, the fuel situation. Maybe that's what's getting me in a bit of a situation right now. I'm trying to understand how yesterday I never envisioned that we were going to have any issues in terms of the increase in prices. And today you wake up like, wait, what is going on? Who offended? We're always shocked.
Yeah, because the last time we were here bothered about power tariff increase.
Yes, even though that's going to happen eventually, exactly. But then it's delayed. So a lot of Nigerians have some time to prep and before they
just didn't see this one coming at all. No clue.
An inkling to it. It was a maybe situation.
Yeah, anything though.
Okay. Well, it was a maybe situation, but there was no definite date or timing to it.
The people who confirm were telling us, "Oh no, nothing like that's going to happen." So even though there was a little bit of chatter about it, we didn't. Some of us were calmed down by them telling us that, "Oh no, it's never going to happen."
So bottom line is, you were trying to get you to the 540, and then boom. Another increase, almost 100 naira.
So, like when people
not getting used to it, finding other ways, other options to
people just staying at
with
home.
it.
Like Abuja would have just been empty practically.
Staying at home and maybe joining friends who are driving to the same destination and also contributing.
Find an alternative.
Yes.
Public transport, whereas if you use a private means of transportation
even
for
the
that.
public transport has been a challenge. You have people even turning down like the normal whatever they're offering right now. In my mind, like what other options do you have? Are you going trek? Like I saw somebody prior cab one day, the man told him 300. He said it's supposed to be 200. He didn't get into the vehicle.
Is that the along?
Like
okay,
the normal along. And I was wondering in my mind, like, how are you going to get there if this is the new price? Like, because in Abuja there are some routes like Keke and Pep don't go, and we don't have this as well. So in my mind, maybe he could not even afford the 300.
Yes.
And I was thinking about people like that. What options do they have?
But what does this mean for us as a country? Because we know the economy is going through some time right now. Nigerians are going through difficult times as well. There's food inflation in general. The numbers are at 22.79 as at the time. Yeah. We have the subsidy removed, and even though the NLC has constantly called for an increase, yes, there was a report that maybe the government is going to yield to the 200,000 naira as minimum wage. But then that's the question: can they afford it? Where are they going to come from? And 99% of the revenue of Nigeria is being used to fund a debt. Now, when this new government came into play, DMO, as a debt management office, one that we should not be collecting any loans anymore. We should find ways around it, because a huge chunk, at the time 70% was going to use, but in a few weeks rather, it's now 99%. So that 1%, I don't know what's going to be used for, but then hope it's going to be able to make some change while we find other ways to get more revenue and just, find a balance for Nigerians. But to get your general thoughts right now, how will the common man cope with this increase? Even though I know some filling stations still selling the old price, pending they readjust following new products.
When we sat down here on the 29th, remember we sat down here on May 20th here, we were addressing respect from this new government, and I kept emphasizing that I was hoping and waiting for a government that listens, a government that listens to the people. I'm seeing that right now, because when we look at what's going on in the country right now, the increase here, increase there, the increase here, I'm wondering who is speaking to the president, and the people speaking to the president, are you actually telling the president the truth? Because what we suffered in the last government, the previous government that just left, because we had a case where the president was really not, it became a thing that we were laughing at. It was not funny at the end of the day, because we end suffering, so I think we're having a government right now that is not aware. Will I say you're not aware, or not being informed, or does not? Because I talked about the fact that we need a government that cares about the people. Don't just mouth and say it. We saw what the UK government just did, where the Prime Minister did not want to impose more burden on the people, and they went further to increase the visa fees for people trying to ask the country. Ruski said, I'm not going to put more burden on people. I cannot increase taxes. And the UK is doing far better than Nigerians. We're still here battling 30,000 per minimum wage, and nobody is even talking about the minimum wage. There's no conversation being had.
But there is. The NLC from the BT,
from the federal government, the federal government is not really.
No, there is. There's a 2-month timeline to this thing, and following a few subsidy.
How many people are going to survive between now and 2 months?
Well, that ends August 19th, I believe. So before then, we're meant to get an update as to what the plan is, or what would be the way forward.
Decision and
maybe a decision follows well, because as of yesterday, a report came out the government is inching towards a 200,000 naira, and you ask that question, the money come from? Yeah. Well, that's a good question. But then maybe the fact that there's been an increase that would change the mindset and help more people to handle the current economic situation of the country. It's
the same issue in a different disguise, because they have to make up for the money. So, for example, if they increase minimum wage, then taxes will go up. You might be getting more money but paying more in value-added tax. So what is the difference there?
Increase the minimum wage food. We talked about this the last time.
Civil servants.
Yes, and how many percent of the population is that? That's something we still talked about. So is this really going to make any impact at the end of the day? And I don't see any Nigerian government increasing any minimum wage to 200,000 when some of the state governments could not implement the 30,000 naira that did the last time. That's not going to happen. I don't see it happening.
But let's talk strategies real quick, if we're able to get any that would benefit the governments, the state governments especially, because most times the issues with them being able to get to pay these monies when the agreement is reached. If it were the 200,000, for instance, how can the average state government or the state government in general find ways to handle this? Because recently, the governor of Ibom State complained that we're getting too many visitors, and politicians were not making him concentrate. I'm not sure what I would make of that excuse, but he said what he said, and that's okay. But if you really want to walk, people are coming to visit with you and distracting you. You are in charge. You should be able to say, you should be able to say, no visitors right now, or I will only visit us 2 hours in a day, or whatever it is. But making that complaint, it seems as though you're giving excuses for non-delivery when if it ever gets to the point.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Because I used to hear that about the president. I remember I used to talk to my friend about the president. Why is the president not aware of what's going on in the country? And he will always tell me that the president is always very busy. And this minute, somebody is coming into the next minute, he has this visitor. But I'm like, the president, he can say, I don't want to see so-and-so people within a particular time, or I want to know exactly what's going on in the country. You want to intentionally know. Show me what's going on. Give me figures here. Not just hearsay, just to me feel good. Booty leakers.
Language.
That's what we hit. Sorry.
Language. Let's get to your thoughts, right? So strategies, ways to handle this.
So first of all, when we're talking about the increase of minimum wage, taking it from state to state, I don't think it's going to be possible to have like a universal minimum wage, because
across all states?
No, it's not going to be possible, because all states are equal. You cannot take a Lagos or Kano and want to compare it to Kogi State. Not the same. They're generating difference of money, and they're getting different amount from the federal government. So you can't tell. Okay, so you're now telling someone Lagosian or in Lagos to pay 200,000, you expect someone in Kogi State to also pay that. It's not going to work.
I think that when the federal government, if the federal government increases, that means you're going to increase the allocations to the states. So every month we hear that the states and local governments go to collect money.
State governments
yes,
come to collect.
Yeah, it's not like generating the monies that they're going to use for this stuff. Some generate,
some do
generate.
Where is the place of collaboration in all of this? Because I mean, it would be good to see some states collaborate and find ways to help each other, on each other, as opposed to always coming to the center. Because I feel like coming to the center takes away from the need to have a state government who is able to come up with ideas and work towards achieving it.
And the problem we have right now, so if we have state governors that are ready to work, are ready to think about means or way of generating funds for their states, I feel like that's going to take time, because this one thing that critics actually complain about when the fuel subsidy was unplannedly removed, without any plan. So when people criticize and say, oh, you should have planned first, supporters of government do not listen. They think you're just criticizing, no, you could have planned first, then you remove. Right now we remove, now we're trying to plan. So are we really not going to have a very bad effect of this sort on plan removal? I don't think we're not going. We are really going to have a serious effect, because whatever any serious government even tries to put in place right now, I don't think it's going to be enough time.
Can I just say,
please.
I agree with that, because I suspected that there was going to be, I heard about this fuel increase, suspected that there was going to be chaos. I witnessed the chaos on my way in.
So fuel queues?
Not even that. Because of, I wasn't sure I had there were queues. I wasn't sure I was going to get, so I left my car at home and I used public transport in the bus.
How did that work for you?
It was a struggle, to say the least. There were fights in the bus. I came two different fights over prices of the fare.
Yeah.
Someone was like, yesterday I paid this, but I'm not. Over 50 naira. People were fighting over 50 naira. I got to finance break. No one was coming this way. I stood there for 20 minutes. Everyone was like, it's either drop or I'm not going. And people were frustrated, people were complaining. So the chaos has already started. The thing is, people, they're not taking into consideration that these are human beings and people have to do what they have to. I don't prefer it, and I hope it doesn't happen, but like a lot of chaos can ensue from this. Because if I'm not able to feed my family, people are going to do what they feel they need to do. I'm not encouraging that. I'm just saying that's what we've happened in the past. So I don't know.
But Ipman is giving an excuse as to why the increase happened. That is the association, that's the Independent Marketers Association of Nigeria, Ipman, and they say that it was earlier projected from the third week there'll be an increase. Very new fuel imports will come into the country, and there could be an upward review of the fuel pump prices, which has happened. It was said there before, but then a lot of people took it seriously because they felt one increase enough, and it would take another. It would take a long time again for that to happen. So the recent increase in crude oil prices in the international market. Now recall that reports had that the Brent crude benchmark price surpassed $80 per barrel for the first time since May 2023. The increase in the dollar to naira exchange, we know how the dollar is doing right now. It's over 800 right now, and the thought could also. Or may all apply to states in the north, like Sokoto and Maiduguri, which could end up paying even as high as 640 to a litre. Now, this is due to distance and higher transportation costs and all of that. So, those are the excuses, the reasons now.
And one thing that I think I read their statement today, the EPM statement, when they announced this 617 naira. They talked about the fact that marketers have started importing, So I was thinking because the complaint increase was because NNPC was so importer of petroleum into the country, So I didn't hear any part, although I'm hopeful that, okay, if we have enough other independent marketer importing, there will be a little bit of competition.
According to the NNDP, has got new licenses.
Exactly.
And
they want competition and the prices could down. Although the NNPC boss said then even if we have all the refineries working, we should not expect
there's no guarantee that they will go down. So,
too many questions. Though, it's not for, though it's very scary.
Does this also somewhat put a bit of in effect to the 8,000 naira that is meant to be shared to 12 households? Because at the time, yesterday 540 was a thing. Now it's 617, and different numbers across states. I know a lot of people are not happy to hear that 8,000. Then
for some people, 53 naira a day. That's what we should call it, isn't it? Per household, 50 naira per day.
And imagine you have 5 children. To a household or 5 people.
They need to stop these initiatives of giving out money. Fix the problem. Stop giving people throwaway. Okay, it's like a lot of money, however many billion. But then when you count the amount of people that you're going to spread that money around, it doesn't go anywhere. Why don't you put that money towards what you're supposed to be doing, put the structure in place, put the policies in place so that these problems won't exist. Because this keeps on happening. We have palliatives, we have all these nonsense money that's sharing about. Okay, fine.
Well, it's nonsense for some people.
No, it's nonsense for
it comes
everybody.
handy for some of these people.
53 naira
Why?
pay.
It's nonsense because, yes, even if it's 5,000 a day, that 5,000 a day will finish. Then where are you left? It's nonsense because it's encouraging beggar mentality.
Yeah,
have your hands out.
laziness.
They need to put this money to work and giving it away to people that don't, in the long run, don't need it.
And we're even saying giving it away. People in this money are going to be looted. We're even saying giving it away. Giving to who?
This is us hoping that if it's shared,
Let me
it's shared
ask
to
you-
the right
let me
people.
ask you a question.
What's that?
What's the bank account for a household? Yeah.
Is that your question now?
Yes.
Okay, we need to go break. You can join the conversation and share your thoughts at the WhatsApp platform, and you can also share your thoughts on the Facebook and YouTube live stream.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Nwachukwu. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria in Hard Facts Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Nothing break the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I do it every morning on Morning Cry from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Nigeria Info 95.1 and I'm MD. Join the biggest conversation around the national politics every day in a way that is trustworthy, full of passion, and yes, covers the biggest politics and the stories that matter to you. You have all the reasons to find out what's going on in Nigeria and do it differently. Let's talk. That's the way to go, even this morning.
This is Nigeria Info.
74869. You can also call the WhatsApp number. Send a message to 080-993-1370 to move away from your device when you call in. State your name and your location and kindly go straight to the point. Good afternoon.
Itodo.
Um,
Itodo, we are in trouble. Nigeria will be there.
What's your name?
My name is Domotini.
Go ahead.
I want to take on the foundation of 8,000 naira. I want to ask, up to now, do you understand that 8,000 naira people, who are they giving them? We have so many things that we need this money for. They should use money for our hospital, for roads. They should use that money to even to sponsor strength, free education, primary school. That's what we want. We don't need the money. It's just a few big men. We don't need it. They have been doing it. It's not working. They are not children. They are not children. Please. If you don't know, this young Martin, these people just be turning our heads and saying, yes. They're driving us as if we're in that boat. Please. We are more than that. They should use some something good. That's what we want.
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm so happy you picked my call. Good afternoon, my name is Mami. I'm calling you from Marie.
Welcome.
So I'm watching you live and I ask you, where is Madam Speaker, ma? Okay.
Today's her day, but she's back here tomorrow.
You guys are all men in the studio. You're doing a marvelous job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
My question is, are we still in full-blown subsidy removal or we are just still manipulating the price? And I want to ask, this hike in price, what is the reason? Is it that fuel in the international market is expensive or NNP is trying to take us to complete and final subsidy removal? Because before then, I got a message from one of our family members that effective this morning we started for 617. I didn't believe it. I thought it was a rumor. But a lot of people that went to the shop immediately decide buying 617 naira. Do you know the effect? People that left home this morning to go to a town, living that paid 1,800, 1,000 or 800. 600 and back, it will not be 800 or 1,000. So people will be stressed. I don't know what we can do to assist one another. Going forward, we have a lot to do in this country.
All right.
The voice.
Yeah.
Only God will heal this country. Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Welcome. Good afternoon. Yes.
These are the we call it agreed speech and the other guests.
Suleiman, welcome. Go ahead.
Mr. Suleiman, God every one of you, and my sister, Mommy C, and the other callers. Nigeria will be great day by the grace of God. But if you will agree with me, Dickens, you will see every one of us need it. I want to beg you, this government, you will not allow them to take us for a ride like that. But when every one of you will be afraid of this that we should not talk, is what put where we are today. Where is labor now? Mr. Yuba Wabade, we have been sought for this. He will tell us we will go for strike.
Sorry about that. If you can do all to call back to your thoughts. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Itodo.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Salisu.
Go ahead, Reid.
What I want to say about this fuel subsidy and the price of fuel.
Are you there?
This politician assembly, to come in assembly now is almost 2 billion or 1.something billion naira. So you do campaign and everything. And talk about president, about how much you take come to be president of Nigeria. You check about the money, it's going to billions of trillions of money. Do you think that people will come and work for you? They will not come and work for you. They come to work for their pocket. That's what I'm saying.
This is just you assuming, right? Because the first lady stated that family was rich enough and they're not here to make any money from Nigeria, but to her country.
The time was before when the governor in Lagos State never had anything, he said Lagos State government all the money on Lagos State to make him a rich.
All right.
You want to lie to?
All right, comrade. Thank you for your thoughts. Let's see what you're saying on YouTube right now. Hi to you, Benga Oboniwa. Thank you for joining in. Kim is on gift today, but she's back here tomorrow. Okay. And Otumba Aki says Nigeria is a difficult country to govern. All we need to calm down. Let's find ways to survive the present situation. Let down and curtail costs, all will be well. Nigeria should know that it is in a brain reset mode. Allow your brain to be reset. Okay, brain reset mode, that's a thing. But I mean, there was a warning by the president before he took over power that things might get really difficult, and he wants Nigeria to bear with him because it's going to be temporary. The question right now is not knowing how long temporary is.
That's what they say. Oh, it's going to be difficult to break, to build. I'm hearing this since when 2009 I was in primary school. We have to bring down the structure that already exists for us.
A long time, 2004.
I remember the first time I heard that.
Yeah.
I was at the saloon and I heard our president say that. And that was 2004. This is 2023, and we're still being told that. So at what point are we going to start seeing?
That's almost 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've been telling us these things.
I was thinking today,
Yes.
yeah. I said there's a way this government could have made Nigerians very calm. No, there's a way they could have given up their goals.
And what's that way?
You know, no, like letting Nigerians know their goals in terms of security. What are they trying to achieve? What's the goal that we're looking forward to? You know, in terms of the naira, what are you trying to achieve in terms of the naira? Where are we headed? The exchange rate, what's your goal? That needs to be clear. For pump price, what's your goal? What did you promise Nigerians? What did you tell us? What have you told us that this is what you want to work towards?
So do you feel that is not clear enough? Because we've seen a unification of the exchange rate.
Unification is not the solution, though. I was thinking about that thing today. Unifying, what has unifying done, though? You know, to say that it should exchange at central bank at 800 and at the black market at 800, that's not that. We needed it to be reduced. You know, even if we could get it somewhere at a lesser place and we get it higher, I think they preferred that to wherever we're seeing, right? You know, so that communication is not clear. I feel like if the communication was very clear in terms of security, this is what we're trying to achieve. In terms of the economy, this is what we're trying to achieve. When it's going really high, Nigerians are seeing it get crazy, we will be worried because we know what we're working towards. You know, we'll be more calm, knowing, okay, to get to the wherever we're getting to, there be, you know, stumbles and whatnot, and we understand that we're going through that rough part right now. Know that this is what where we're heading because this government has told us that we're heading to. We don't know where we're heading to. That's why people are confused. There's chaos. People don't know what's coming. They don't know what's going. We don't know what's happening. There's chaos. Communication needs to be to me, communication is not clear at all. We cannot know where we're headed.
Let's take more thoughts from you. You can call the WhatsApp number right now or simply send a WhatsApp message to include your name and your location. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Welcome to you. Go ahead. What's your name? Go ahead.
Yes, I would ask you this. Is there any country in the world right now, let us use South Africa, for example, that things are okay? I mean, things are getting better every day. Like Franz Spencer will say, it's getting better and better. And apart from that, we all know the world economy is really down now. And we just have a new government. This APC government, for me, is not that I'm standing for them. I think they are trying to revitalize our economy. The way down from Buhari to this government. Buhari has been doing infrastructures. People were in abuse, insult on him. And today we have a new government. 500 billion do. Can 500 billion do the refinery? Whoever tells you that, let him go and investigate and find out for Dangote. How much Dangote is building that refinery? 500 billion will not be 5 times. I'm telling you the truth.
All right.
Because those ships are coming from abroad. You can't produce them here in Nigeria. You need the electrons that are so expensive from India and China.
All right. Thank you very much for...
Let us not need the people, please.
All right. Let's take some more thoughts before I have you share what you share. Welcome.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You sound muffled. Is it okay? Is it comfortable for you to project or change your position? I can hear you now. Good afternoon.
My president is watching.
Moses.
Said that Tinubu was rich before getting power. Yes, it was rich. When you want to help the country, when you get in power there, you have to reduce salary. I remember the Trump in the United States. Once he gets into office, he said the United States should pay him $1 every. Am I wrong? Okay, please. What country is $20 every? It's not in this subsidy and to leave some money again of palliative. Cover the money is spent in aviation. That's my take. Thank you.
It's just you assuming, all right? Nobody said he's going to use the money that he's given palliative to make up for whatever was spent during the elections. Let's not try to push that narrative. But you're going to say something, Suleiman. Let's have you do that real quick.
I find it very irritating when politicians or their constituents tell us that the world economy is bad, so these people are trying their best. Listen, do I look like the president of Nigeria? Do I look like the minister of FCT? That's because I did not seek out the decisions. You got up from where you were and I want to be the governor. I want to be the president. You sort out these jobs. Now do the job. Don't tell me it is difficult. I was supposed to be here at whatever. I came here. I could have said, oh, no, it's so difficult to get here. No, I did what I had to do. So politicians should do what they have to do. We know that the global economy is the toilet right now. Nobody is disputing that. It is literally your job to fight.
And while that also communicate to the people and indicating and dropping blanket statements, but specifics and timelines. So that way people are looking forward to something.
And have a coordinated message, because what is, like you were saying, what is happening now is you have the executive branch saying something, you have the head of one parastatal saying something else, then you have the head of a ministry saying something else, and they're all talking at the same thing, and they're within the same government. So the way they're communicating, they are not communicating sometimes, and then when they communicate, it's chaos. They just need to get on the same page.
But do you think it's an issue that in over 42 days since the decision started, we don't have a finance to steer the ship? There's a minister of petroleum. There are no important ministries being headed. It's as though it is on autopilot, hoping and waiting for those who will be out.
I feel like the federal government is not operating like we're in a dire situation. You know, even in terms of the insecurity we're facing. It's just the declared state of emergency on food insecurity or whatnot. To me, is that top priority? You know, farmers cannot farm. Why can they not? Yeah, there's no. Why is there no food? You know, if we're looking at it, why is there no food? Why can't we produce? People cannot go and farm. insecurity is still going on. There's still daily killings. There's still kidnappings. The farmers that cannot step foot in their families. You know, the government is not approaching it like, okay, insecurity is a major issue. We are hearing that you're talking to investors here and there. The investors know down, they read the news. They're not coming to a country that's infested with bandits, you know, killer headsmen and whatnot, and kidnappers, you know. So I'm not seeing any target, like this economic team. The economic team up with 8,000 naira per household. I'm very disappointed, to be honest. You know, because I'm like, how are you thinking about Nigerians? How are you thinking about us? You want family to function with 8,000 naira? Even if they are the poor, how much is 8,000 naira dollars?
Speaking about insecurity right now, we hear that Ganduje Yuguda has formed a Fulani coalition against insecurity in the bid to arrest in the north, right? And the leaders of 17 Fulani groups have formed a coalition to end security being perpetrated by some kingsmen, with the immediate part Kano State Governor Abdulahi stating that killer headsmen had been transformed. Now, Fulani leaders, including the former Bauchi State Governor Issa Yuguda, one time made his thoughts on insecurity and ways that things could change. Gandhi acknowledged that just as it is in other ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, there are bad eggs amongst Fulanis, and that those people engage in kidnapping, armed robbery, and militia activities. So it's as though that there are plans to find other ways to handle insecurity.
But these are not government officials, so I cannot really hold them to it then. You know, they're no longer in
But
power.
you're doing about it.
They are doing something bad.
So it doesn't count.
You don't owe us anything. You know, the burden is supposed to be on the government, people that are sitting on the military heads right now and the other security agencies. Those are the people I can hold accountable. I can commend them for whatever they are trying to do right now. But do you owe us to do that right now? Not really. You know, but hopefully the government will see what they are doing, the military will see what they are doing, and the police, and will want to cooperate with them, because we can't just sit down. There are bad eggs in every whatever. These things are not normal. We are trying to normalize them. It's not normal. Those daily killings. Tell me which country in the world, although there's some other countries where wars are going on, but what normal, sane society do you go in the world? Like, we've lived in this country for how many years? When I was little, I didn't hear that one particular place, there's just these bands that stop farmers from farming. That's just gone on. Yes, people cannot farm. You can't travel. Peace. They're just kidnappings. Now kidnapping themselves. You know?
Yeah. All right, let's do some thoughts right now on YouTube. Can we please leave this government? We're talking about communal ways to survive. Wendy Smart on YouTube. Though Sufyan says things are getting worse in this country. And what you're saying on Facebook right now, Christopher James, Nigerians are suffering and not even seeing any action on this whole palliatives. Only PMS to go as high as 610 naira today. God will help us. And Sunday, Daniel Emmanuel watching Fidena State. Regards to Mommy Z Sahel. We need a pragmatic and passionate leader in Nigeria. God help us. Awuni Yudayo. And petroleum is imported with foreign currency. If the value of the foreign currency goes up, the price of petrol will go up, especially now that the removal of subsidies is the energy and economic reality we have to live with. So when some people think fuel pump price will magically go down, they could not play. Okay. The reason there is still calm in Nigeria is because of the PPT waiting for the court. And that's what Joe Atta Friday is saying. Good afternoon to you, Tokbai. Thank you for joining in. And this one right here is waiting to get to your message in a minute. So we'll have to come back to it. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Itodo.
Yes, welcome.
My name is Musa.
Go ahead, Musa.
Yes. Sometimes, when we sit down, just sit at analysts, they talk. But I wonder. I think we need to really look at, yes, we hold our government accountable. But what else can do? This liberalization, commercialization of the oil and gas sector because of the passing of the PIE by the National Assembly simply means that the market forces will determine whatever the use of this thing. So, if anybody come and sit in the studio and say, government, what else do you want government to do? I'm not surprised. Somebody said in 2004 he was in primary school. So which means that he doesn't even know between 1990 and
So let's not go there, because that's an unfair thing to do. Everyone has got right to their opinion, all right? So let's not, you can't...
Let us check it. Let us be objective by advice.
How are you being objective right now? Because we asked for ways to from this, and you're making reference to something that's not really important to the conversation.
No. What I mean is that...
Wait, before you go on, can you kindly back what you just said? Because I think that's so unnecessary.
By what, sir?
Let's move on from this. And this one right here says, citizens of this country too quiet until we put our tribal, ethnic, and religious differences aside and face leaders. Situation will not change. Nigerians must come together so we can tell our leaders that there will be great consequences for misrule or corruption. Do you think that is something?
Having a problem right now, though, because I see this in the comment section on my news page on Facebook. Some people don't feel like you should question anything the government does. I don't know what affiliation is with the government, but what's the role of the government, though? Because campaigns, we hear the campaigning come out to say, "Oh, we're going to do
to
this.
make promises and not deliver on them.
Of the country. We're going to do this and do that in terms of, in terms of insecurity and what." Then when they come and they're not even up to par, and you criticize as a citizen, because we have a right, to actually demand wherever from our government. We see that everywhere it happens in the US and whatnot. Then people come out to criticize you and say, no, don't criticize them. What else do you want them to do? What else we want them to do? They need to get to work.
Right, let's move on to another situation right now making the rounds in Nigeria. It has to do with the former CBN as lawyers filed contempt charge against DSS and the D. A group of human rights lawyers demands contempt proceedings against the DSS, that is the DG of the State Security Service, UBC, over alleged disobedience to multiple judgments and orders, of directing the release of the suspended central governor, Godwin Emefiele. From copy of the agency, they have filed a contempt charge seeking to commit the DSS chief to prison in line with provisions of the law on violation of lawful order of a competent court. Now, 48, which is notification of causes of disobedience to a court order, and Form 49, which seeks to commit an alleged contempt to prison, were filed before High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja, on Monday. For a lawyer, so I'm going to get to charges against Emefiele, and we heard it's unlawful possession of a firearm.
Yeah.
What are the consequences of that? First, because before now, while he was still CBN governor, there were issues of allegation of sponsorship of criminal activities, terrorist activities. That's the word. But right now, said that making any play and the firearm.
Yeah, I just think the case of Emefiele is becoming very obviously political, which does not really look well on the new government. It's now looking like it's of a witch hunt. Because before even they got to power, there was a statement by Emefiele, the former governor of Kaduna State, when he said that when Tinubu gets to power, they're going to deal with the CBN and any other person that was involved in the new Naira policy. Because if you notice before the election, they were having a challenge with their campaign, shortage of Naira that period. So now you get into power, now you really arrest the man, You arrest him legally, you hold somebody for no more than 48 hours and you charge them to court. You hold them for not more than 48 hours, you charge them to court. They held him for a long time, had to get an order for the court extension. Now there are different rulings that have said, release this man, or charge him court. They failed to charge him. Now you come up with ridiculous, in my opinion, ridiculous charges. They had accused them in the media of corruption, you said sponsoring terrorism or whatnot. Then you come around the charges you are filing, 2 counts, unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition without license. I'm like, a Nigerian looking at the DSS with the side eye. And despite that, still, there was a court order last week, which said release him. And there's just this disobedience of the court orders. And we have seen this happen in the past before. There was a precedent that had been set. Now the new government, is continuing. My question right now, I'm looking, what does this mean to the judiciary? If our judiciary no longer has a say, if the court could give an order and you have to be a big man, disregard
of the court orders.
You don't obey, nobody cares, and there are no consequences. Why are there no consequences? And I'm looking at the judiciary. They say judiciary is the last hope of the command. It's no longer looking like that. Like, Nigerians don't have any trust in the judiciary anymore. I don't know if the judiciary is actually worried about their image at this point in time.
But looking at Bauer as well, because he also arrested June 14th, he spent about 33 days in custody, and so far, no charge has been made known to the public as to his specific offenses for which he was arrested.
And here's where I question the presidency, because I believe the DSS chief is just acting on his own. I don't believe the DSS chief on his own can disobey a court order. I do not believe that. So I don't think it's a good look federal government. You don't want to act like dictator. This is a democracy. This is not a military president like President Muhammad Buhari that we could say, okay, he's had like military tendencies. Democratic, pure president that we have right now, but you're exhibiting those traits of a dictator, and they don't care about the consequences or how it makes them look in the eyes of the world and in the eyes of the citizens. I just really fear for the image of the judiciary, to be honest. I'm very worried, because if it was a common man, the court does not give an order. So what should
we make of this update? Because a tweet was put out using the official DSS handle on Twitter, but then again, it could also be maybe it was hacked or someone forgot to change to their personal account and put out that statement. So the DSS tweet suggests that suspended CBN governor has links with IPOB. And it reads, I'm going to get to it. A Biafran Republic agitator and IPOB council defending the suspended CBN governor. Is IPOB depending one of theirs? That's a question. What contradiction? What's the connection? Is telling us something? May Maxwell be properly educated on the points of law, please? And it seems as though it's a personal opinion and put out the wrong, using the wrong.
Even if he's accused, first of all, I heard that Bauer connected or he linked Bauer in the new Naira policy, whatever thing. If you have criminal allegations against anybody, you charge them to court. It's simple. But what we have seen happen in Nigeria, because normally you're supposed to do your investigations, you're supposed to gather all your evidence against the people, know whatever crimes they have committed against which particular sections of which criminal law in the country, then you arrest them, do a little bit of further investigation, then you charge them to court. But what we have here, which is very clear, in the case of Emefiele, you threw these media allegations against him, arrest him. You really could not find anything concrete based on what they have him for right now to charge him for, because all the things you told us in the press to draw his image, you did not charge for any of those. Now you're saying full possession of official.
It's possible. Is it that investigations are still going?
It cannot be going on before you an arrest and you lock the person up for so many days.
So here's the thing, you are right, it is political. However, this is not new when you talk about lawyers or public defenders, because it happens all over the world. There's about loopholes. So I need to do this, but I'm not lawfully allowed to do. So let me find a loophole. So the loophole here is now that charge that they've brought against him. It might be a ridiculous charge, but it's a charge nonetheless. So we're supposed to work under the assumption that no man is above law. So if it's true, even though it is a piddling charge, it is still a charge. It's a crime. So that they're within to do that.
I don't have any problem with the charge, though.
Yes.
But I'm saying what people have a problem with, they're disobeying court orders. The court orders
not
said,
really.
Charge him to. They have not charged him to court.
They said charge him to court, release him.
Yeah.
And they charged him.
They did charge him to court. They haven't released him yet. There was a request for him to be released, but that has not happened. And that was the issue with the disobedience.
But
let's go on the break. When we come back, we'll get some thoughts via the WhatsApp platform.
This is Nigeria Info.